after the news at 7 o'clock.
Hello, I'm Dan O'Brien.
And I am Dave Green.
And this is OLR, online radio.
Hey, Danny, shouldn't you be saying OLR on GLR?
No, OLR on GLR doesn't scan very well. Too many acronyms.
Oh, excuse me, it's Dan O'Byron now, is it? Literary cyberchild caught up in a tortuous love triangle between technology and art.
No, I never said that, did I?
No, not in those words, Danny, or in that sentence, but you said it.
Look, Dave, I think you'll find...
No, Danny, I think you will find...
No, I think you will find...
Oh, all right then, yes, I do find that. No need for that booming voice.
All right then, fair enough. Stick with us for the next 2 hours on OLR, and we think you'll find that radio has never sounded so full of stuff.
So full of stuff?
Yes, stuff like this.
We're all adults. After all, would you say that everybody at some time or other who uses the net uses the porn on the net?
Everybody.
And famous people like this.
I don't know much about the internet, but I think I'm going to take a course on it.
Hang on, isn't she married to the drummer from Blur?
Dave.
What?
No, that's his name. Dave, the drummer from Blur.
I thought he was going out with that girl from Elastica.
No, that's Damon, and he's the good-looking one.
So which one's Dave?
The drummer. They're never the good-looking ones.
Oh, cool. So what other stuff have we got then?
Well, there's some more of this.
What exactly do they look like?
I've been informed that the picture's eyes.
Surely not pornography again.
Yeah, but listen, Dave, we're not going to get all giggly about it this time, all right?
So what's the point of us doing it then?
Fair point. Also, on this special Good Friday edition of OLR, music on the internet. The place where top sounds are heading these days. We've got a feature on that, and also a live interview with a real virtual band called simply The Pod.
I'll be giving you my history of the net, part 2. More of an extension than a sequel to the first part.
And cyberpunk author Jeff Noon is with us in the studio, as is a mystery celebrity legend who will keep completely secret until the second half, just to make sure you stay listening to us.
The lines are open now if you want to express yourself through our channels. Send your email to quadrangle@solo.pipex.com or telephone 0171 224 2000.
Still not to worry, it's all right now.
In the history of great discoveries, great people often make a lot of difference to the way that things turn out. Thomas Edison and the light bulb, Alexander Graham Bell and the telephone, Kevin Keegan and the perm, all of them forever linked to their own invention.
So what of cyberspace, that vast area of virtual property where no landowner lives? Can anyone claim to have pioneered its evolution? Perhaps just like Trivial Pursuits. The clue is in the question, or in the case of this question, the name. Cyberspace.
Indeed. Joining us now on OLR, we have a couple of dudes who may well have the answer to the origins of cyberspace. They were Doctor Who's second greatest enemies, and they went by the name of Cybermen.
Right, so I'd like to introduce here in the studio, first of all, we've got the cyber leader.
Greetings, humanoid.
And over there, we've got the cyber controller. Hi. Good to have you on the programme. Cyber controller, if I can start with you.
Oh, yeah?
If I can start by asking you, what exactly did the Cybermen have to do with the development of cyberspace?
Well, that's just our point. Nobody asked us, did they? They just went off and coined the term without so much as a by your leave.
Cyber leader, anything to add?
That's correct. Up until 1983, cyberspace was just the place where we happened to live in the galaxy. Then, all of a sudden, this William Gibson bloke starts going around, using it to denote theoretical information space. If you ask me, he must be destroyed. He must be destroyed.
So what sort of effect has this had on your cyber lives, as it were?
It's been terrible. People don't take us seriously anymore.
You're kidding.
And as for cyberpunk, that was our idea too. The Talosian Cybermen started it all off, with their pink helmet handles and ripped chest units. By the way, humanoid, what was all that about us being Doctor Who's second greatest foes? Yes, I disapproved of that also. Destroy, you will be destroyed.
Obviously, it's just a figure of speech, like has been. No, like over the hill.
Destroy, destroy.
Oh, well, Cyber Controller, Cyber Leader, thank you for coming on to OLR.
Oh, thank you very much.
Online. Manning the barricades of the digital revolution.
Well, as the Cybermen lumber their way from the studio, I'm pleased to announce that we'll be talking to one of their arch enemies later in the show.
Oh, right, that'll be Battlestar Galactica.
No, that was the Daleks.
No, yeah, sure, you're right. Well, if you'd like to suggest any other obscure 70s TV stars that we'd like to have on, including the Cybermen, we have slightly more popular ones coming up later, why not email in or phone in or fax in on all our various online lines on the line as we speak. If you want to phone us, that's 0171 224 2000 or 0171 4872908 if you're a fax machine, or you can email us on quadrangle@solo.pipex.com. And that's not the only question you can ask. For instance, one thing that's been riveting us here in the studio is which is better, Mac or PC? Obviously the PC.
No, the Mac.
No, it's obviously the PC.
Great,
because,
the Mac.
Because you can plug in loads of sound cards and it's really cool on the
but
PC.
Can you use it? I've got a Mac. I think it's great.
Well, yeah, you may be able to use your Mac, Dave, but my PC has got a sound card that I will plug it. Yeah. Or perhaps you're staying at home with your idiot family and they are asking you to solve lots of computer problems that you have no idea about.
Pass them on to us. We love them.
Well, no, preferably if you don't. And also the big issue that's driving us crazy here is Douglas Adams and Terry Pratchett. Which one of them would win in a fight?
Online radio, what Captain Kirk would listen to if he was not dead forever. I know, I cannot believe it either.
You're listening to online radio. Ironic, isn't it, that we're broadcasting this out via the primitive technique of electromagnetic radiation when we could contact the whole world just by sending it out as a live audio stream on the net itself. That's right, the net doesn't just deal with text, but with excellent, high-quality sound.
Yeah, right, Dan. So why don't I just pack all this in and tune into the cool sounds of internet radio? Look, here I am listening to funky WXYC broadcast live from the University of North Carolina.
No, look, don't do the live demonstrations. Look, remember what happened to Heaven 17. You can't, no.
Listen to this. Check this out. Doesn't sound so cool now, does it?
That's entirely not fair. This technology is in its infancy, Dave.
As, it appears, are many of its proponents.
Well, there must be something good on it. Look. Hold on. There's NASA TV. Now, isn't that incredible? You see, you get video as well. Look at the live little moving picture of the astronaut on the screen there. Or it could be the moon.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean, especially when the listeners are getting better quality images than you are.
All right, okay, check this one out.
Per channel, just one ISDN link is 2 or 3 times faster than a normal telephone line, with better reception and usability for...
Hey, that is good. I mean, there's no drop signals, solid technical information, which is great, professional demeanour, and one of those proper radio voices. I mean, where'd you get it? This is all coming over via the internet, is it, Dan?
Yes.
Dan, can I have a glass of water? It's a bit hot behind this curtain in the corner here.
Well, but look over there. No, look, it's...
No, it's not. It's the Wizard of Oz.
No, it's not. It's Johnnie Walker.
How did that happen? How did you get in there? Okay, who let the professional in?
I'm sorry, Mr. Walker. What a great privilege to meet you.
Well, it's very nice to be here.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
I mean, you've been demonstrating a fair bit of knowledge there of some fairly high-tech gear. I mean, do you play around with this stuff as a hobby? Or...
Well, I mean, it's a bit of both, really. ISDN I'm very interested in on a professional level because I run an independent production company. So the idea of being able to link to anywhere in the world with a compatible ISDN and get live concerts coming in. You know, I'm planning one with Soul Asylum from Amsterdam to come live into Radio 1 on a Saturday afternoon. So, I mean, now these sort of communications, the only limitation really is in your imagination of what you're going to do with them. I love the anarchy of the internet. You know, starting off on Caroline, they were 3.5 miles out in the ocean. Nothing anybody could do about it except try and jam your signals. And I think, you know, even though the CIA is monitoring the internet and all that sort of stuff, it's just so huge. They'll never be able to censor it or stop that free flow of information. That's what excites me.
So the internet's like the pirate radio of the 1990s.
Yeah, definitely.
But with more transmitters.
Yeah, and a lot more people.
involved at both ends.
Yeah, because you can't fit that many people on a ship, can you?
How much does ISDN to the home cost, then? I'm quite interested in this.
Well, I don't know. I hear they're bringing it down all the time, and it depends what you're going to use. If you just want ISDN for voice and a limited bandwidth, then it's a lot cheaper than if you're going to use it for music. If you want music, then you need a much more expensive ISDN box.
Well, that's great. Now, to return to the world of pop music, of course, we will be talking to, the Johnnie Walker a little later, after this record. Dan?
Yes, well, this is called... no, I can't read what it is now. I've put it on the player. Spinning a bit too fast for me to
It's
see.
actually the Rolling Stones and Jump on Top of Me.
You see, he's an absolute professional. You could pick up a tip or two there, Dan.
It was incredible. His head was like revolving at exactly the same speed as the turntable.
It's just a knack, you know.
Scary.
And look, it's a CD.
And if you wrote down the running order before the show, then you know exactly which record to play next.
Oh, I didn't realise it was so simple.
Yes, you're listening to Online Radio, and we're talking to Johnnie Walker.
Actually
Johnnie Walker.
talking to him, the Johnnie Walker. So we were speaking before the record about what you've been doing with all this technology. What kind of kit have you got of your own personal possession?
I've got a Panasonic CF-41 laptop with, you just lift up the keyboard and then you've got a CD-ROM drive in.
It's got two CDs there just glaring at you.
Yeah, well, you park one CD,
yeah.
you see, and then you put another one actually that you're using.
And what, save all that fiddling around with boxes,
yeah,
I imagine.
And huge, great big cabinets of stuff. I mean, do you use that to listen on it's a laptop, so you use it to listen to music, or do you use it for the multimedia stuff?
No, well, everything. You know, and I mean, there's a bit of, what have we got in there at the moment? I just got Indiana Jones, The Fate of Atlantis on CD.
Fantastic, from LucasArts.
I mean, we've all done that one, you know,
Yeah.
it takes up so much room on the hard drive, so I thought, brilliant, have it on the CD.
Has it got little speech samples in it as well?
Yeah.
So you can talk to
But
them
I'm
too.
having an IRQ problem with that, so we won't get into that.
Oh, no, I think that's...
because my IRQ's 10 and Indiana Jones wants a 5 or a 7.
Oh, we're not allowed to discuss IRQ or sound card problems are outside the remit of this programme.
But we're
if you want to mess your computer up, put a sound card in.
No, I sense here that you're a PC user. Is that right?
I am politically correct.
This is like that Nicky Campbell bit where, like, he guesses the star sign, isn't it?
That's right, you see? I was right. So no Macs there. So
I'm disappointed, but looking into your past, I sense there's a Mac. There's some sort of little crazy Mac artistic tendency there.
Well, yeah, I'd have to admit, you know, I did get suckered into the ease-to-use-ness of the Mac.
They're fantastic,
You know,
aren't they? So, well, there
and
we
I
are.
think it's a wonderful machine, and then I realised how limited the software was. You see, so,
limited and expensive, I think, is the usual criticism.
I think you shot yourself in the foot there, Dave.
But I do like the power books. They are very sexy.
They're great, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Especially when they zoom through the air and dock in.
That whole thing, yeah. I regard the CF-41, which is a beautiful laptop, in case anyone out there is having difficulty visualising it, as the PC PowerBook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of turning turncoat on that. I mean, you think of buying any cool tech in the future? Any consumer recommendations you'd like to give out?
I see a 41. I paid full price for it. You know.
Sponsored by Panasonic.
There's an MPEG card for the CF-41 which now fits into the floppy disk drive, which I think is excellent.
I think
tip,
it's just bigger
drives.
drives. I was in Tottenham Court Road the other day and I saw a 1.3 gig for, 3.5-inch hard drive for 340 quid. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on.
Fantastic, isn't it?
And if you pay by cash, they throw in like a mouse mat and stuff as well.
Tottenham Court Road, yeah.
Well, listen, I've got to be off, fellas. It's been fascinating, but lots of work to do, records to prepare, and get the show sorted out, do all the research, all that.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what we do,
that's
despite
right.
appearances.
By the way, Dan, do practice revolving your head at laserdisc speed, and you lean a bit too much into the microphone when you talk. Just try and pull back a bit and relax.
Okay, and speak from the diaphragm.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Is this better? Good.
Yeah,
okay.
Excellent.
Oh, well, what a nice man.
Online radio, asking the questions that aren't even relevant yet.
Hi, it's about 1826, which is a famous year in computing because Charles Babbage had a birthday that year. I'm Dan O'Brien.
And I'm Dave Green. And if you were with us just moments ago, and if you weren't, why not, you'll know that we were just talking to top DJ Johnnie Walker, talking about his relationship with the internet. And I think you'll agree with me, Dan, it sounded like they were getting on just fine.
Tickety-boo.
But what of the industry that allows the Johnnie Walkers of this world to exist? The general idea of the music business, surely, is to sell records, tapes and compact discs to people who like the sound of what they hear on the radio.
It's a simple idea which can also be exploited by getting your music onto a film soundtrack or maybe by appearing live on children's television programmes. This explains, I think, why Cheggers What Plays Pop was allowed to stay on air as long as it did. What that was doing was extending the careers of groups that had otherwise faded into obscurity.
Oh, well, fascinating theory, yes, Dan, as ever, and your point is?
My point is that the music industry needs to be both seen and heard at the same time, almost simultaneously. Otherwise, no one would know what to buy. Now, you see, on the internet...
Yeah, with the right technology.
Yeah, thank you, Dave. Yeah, on the internet, you can get sound and pictures for the price simply of a local phone call.
And the price of the right technology,
Yeah. So the record companies can tell their music-hungry fans when and where it's, quotes, at via the net.
Yeah, but it's not all sweet music and light, is it, Dan? You've got to admit.
No, serious voice now. Because the internet is a free democratic space, and neither the band or the record company get paid for being downloaded onto someone's computer.
So what we have is a situation of complete user power.
Right on.
Where everyone hears and sees what they want, when they want, for free.
Not exactly. Listen to this.
I'm not going to sit around and do that. I'd rather just go out and buy the record.
When CDs came out, there were some people who just wouldn't let go of vinyl, whether it was the sleeve information or the ability to destroy the record in one flick of the needle. Some music lovers resisted the change. Today, however, the music industry is getting ready for another revolution. This is Sam Hauser of BMG Records.
People are going to be able to go to sites dedicated to bands that are going to become more and more complicated, more and more intricate, more and more designed, more and more stylish to reflect the nature of the band. And they're going to be able to find out everything they want to know about the band, download the tracks, download the videos, download the stills and other gimmicks and gadgets that people put on as and when. And actually, get closer to the band. You're able to email the bands directly. So, you know that once you send them a message, at the moment, that message will certainly get replied to by a band or somebody very close to the band.
OK, but not actually the band themselves. Right, it takes about 10 minutes for the average computer user to download 30 seconds of music on a normal phone line. And even then, the quality is half that of a CD. So why get excited about music on the internet? This is Dean Frederick of the web design partnership Netmare.
It's not like you walk into a shop and it's like a record shop and there's a million records in there and you only want one. You only need to go to the area on the net which attracts you, don't you? You can bypass all the stuff that you don't want.
What is this? I never heard any music like this in my life before, and if I ever have, I don't know where I heard it.
Interactive music, in my opinion, is something that nobody actually has defined yet. Possibilities are endless.
For the moment, it's the level of exposure rather than the quality of sound on the internet which has music people picnicking in the forest of hyperbole.
Lots of A&R men, in record companies are using the net to actually try and source new bands. There's an incredible site in the States called IUMA, which is the Internet Underground Music Archive. That's like an absolute institution, and they're getting like between 80 to 120,000 hits a day. People actually coming to the site every day, and what they've got is there is a mixture of signed bands, like Warner Brothers have their site there, but also unsigned bands, and they get all unsigned music and put it on their site, and A&R men are consciously going to these sites to check out who the new bands are, and people, I believe, as a consequence, are getting signed from being spotted on the net.
Apart from the wannabes, you also get the yes we are's, using the net to spread their music. This is Dave, the drummer from Blur. He didn't say anything particularly interesting, but he's from Blur.
What we've done is taken some samples from the album we're recording at the moment and put them on the Radio 1 webpage, and we're asking people as a sort of competition to put together something from them. But in general, it takes so long to download music and image files, it's just not worth, trying to put an album out on the net. It takes about half an hour to load 3 minutes of music, so a whole album would take you hours and hours and hours. It's simply not worth it. Once line speeds improve, perhaps this kind of thing will happen, but at the moment it's just a waste of time and people are just doing it for a gimmick.
maybe one day, you know, we'll all be sitting here and you'll come into this record company and all there'll be is one sort of big mainframe computer, and you know, you don't have to actually talk to anyone or meet anyone, and it will talk back to you. But I think, you know, some people have been reading a few too many William Gibson books or something.
Can I just say I'm online?
Online radio, finding infotainment where others see only despair.
This is a man's world. He's lost and bitterness.
Of course, online radio is a programme for both men and the other ones.
What, women?
Yes, women, because, you know, there's all this stuff you hear about how 90% of the people on the internet are all male, and clearly that's rubbish, because if you think about it, like 90% of the people that you meet anyway are male, aren't they?
Well, I don't understand what. I mean,
Danny, how many people do you know for a start?
What, you mean like friends?
Think of them. Well, no, just know in general.
10.
10 exactly.
Give or take 1. Yes.
Good. Well, that's 10. And how many of them are men, for instance?
Oh, about half. There's Tom, Paddy. About 9. 9 of them are 10. 9.
9. Well, there we are. So that's 90%. So, in fact, the internet is quite representative.
But that's true. And I don't know why they complain, because you see a lot of girls on adverts as well, don't you? So perhaps the way it works out is girls get adverts, and sad boys in anoraks get the net. Maybe that's the deal.
We're here to redress that balance, certainly.
So if you'd like to email in, because of course you can pretend to be anything you want via email. So if you'd like to
girl or boy,
you could pretend to be anything you want. You know, if you're a girl who does boys, or you're Mike Yarwood and you do Frank Spencer, whatever you want to do, you can email in and pretend to be who you want. You can email in on Quadrangle being the same as that square thing, at solo_pipex.com. COM. So join us there in the virtual world.
There's more traditional modes of communication on the telephone, 0171 224 2000, and the fax.
Oh, if you want to communicate via a slightly outmoded data transmission system, that's 0171 487 2908, all baud rates supported.
They're great telephones, aren't they? Well, I mean, what else would they enable you to do, Dan?
What, telephones? You could communicate to anyone in the entire world, couldn't you? But, there's a slightly more...
quite a serious point,
Yeah, because many people are very worried about telephones, and particularly on the internet, the transmission of pornography or dirty pictures on the internet. And many radio and TV programmes have covered this in their reports. But what about the people involved in this vicious trade?
That's right. What about those journalists who have to ring people up and write endless articles about this disgraceful whole business?
And what's more, how comes these journalists know so much about it?
Well, they wouldn't be copying a quick peek at it themselves, would they?
We called Stevan Keane, managing editor of Wired UK magazine, to find out what he had to say about this filthy habit.
Hello?
Hello, is that Steve Keane?
Yeah.
Stevan Keane, what is the single most wonderful thing about the internet? Is it the freedom of information, or is it just that it's a new toy for geeks to play with?
It's both, but if it were to be the single most wonderful thing, it's the idea that there is a means of exchange that's free to everybody, and offers an opportunity for people to change their thinking about the way they relate to each other.
Well, that's a good standard response there by Stephen.
Yeah, the internet sounds absolutely wonderful, doesn't it?
Great,
everyone's talking at the same time.
But what we really want to know is about the pornography, because that's everyone's main reason for getting on the net.
So he's relaxed now. Let's see how he handles it.
Now, there's a lot of talk flying around about the way people relate to each other on the internet, and the image that a lot of people have in their mind is of transmitting dirty pictures down phone lines.
Hey!
If somebody was to ask you where you can get it, how do you actually get porn on the net?
Well, there's a few simple ways. You can get it off Usenet groups. There's all the Usenet news groups. It's quite simple to get it from those.
And how did you pick up this information? Was this by practice or exposition exercise, trial and error? Or does someone just tell you? Is it sort of...
I was instructed in the ways by a geek.
We're all adults, after all. Would you say that everybody, at some time or other, who uses the net, uses the porn on the net?
Everybody.
How often do you come across porn on the net?
How often do I come across porn on the net? I can't remember the last time I looked.
Well, I can remember the last time I looked, because actually we work in an office quite close to where Wired UK are based, and I saw him doing it just the other night. I don't know about you, Dave.
No, nice one, Stephen. Yeah, we were spying on you with our special high-power telescope. Oh, God, I've gone and done it again.
Oh, no, we've exposed our own little flaws, and we'll be returning to the very controversial area of net pornography.
Serious
Yeah,
topic.
very serious. As soon as we're ready again, which is usually about 20 minutes. Well, we've had a few emails in. There's a nice one here from Ian McDonald, who complained that the Cybermen didn't say excellent. You're absolutely right, and I did try and push for them to say excellent at some point. What we'll try and do is get my voice in a tube, which is how we did the voice for the Cybermen, and see if I can't... Excellent.
Yeah, nice one, Dan. And we've also had an email from Tom Dolan, thank you, Tom, who's longing for the Gemini Man to visit online radio. The Gemini Man, in case anyone can't remember, was a guy who went invisible whenever he pressed his digital watch. So he could be here with us in the studio with us now.
I seem to remember on the Gemini Man, he had to paint his face on
No,
it.
that's the Invisible Man.
Oh, right,
played by David
confused.
McCallum. The Gemini Man
sorry.
had a very fashionable watch that enabled him to do this. He could be here in the studio with us now.
No, perhaps that's just...
door's open by itself.
And like a cup of tea is floating as though held on by a rather poor piece of string.
Anyway, and here are the Smiths.
Last time in our brief slice of our so-called lives that we call, whatever this show's called, online radio, we had a history of the net, and now there's part 2 of it. Dave Green reports on exactly how this thing we call the net got made.
Hi there, fact seekers. Previously on History of the Internet, I attempted to physically visit the Internet in person, and that's where I discovered that...
The Internet isn't really a place. It's an abstract concept. It's a standard, a protocol, a language that enables computers to communicate with each other. It doesn't exist as an object in the real world.
No. But what about all these glittering spires, then? These silvery streams of digital data?
Well, this place... This is what we show to visitors.
Apparently the Internet was all designed by the army to link together their military computers.
The idea was that they would all share information, so if one computer got blown up, all the other ones could step in and cover for it, and no strategic data would be lost.
But then it all got taken over by students. Here's just one of those students with his typically cogent account of how it all works.
Well, David, imagine that you've got a computer, and you've also got a friend who's also got a computer. Now, suppose that there was some way of getting the two computers to talk to one another, say by means of a wire or something like that. You could then ask your friend what was on his computer, and he could tell you using his computer. And you, of course, could do the same for him.
Confused yet? Believe me, by the end of this second part of the history of the Internet, your mind will be so jam-packed with information, you'll no longer know what the word confused means. This time, my resident expert who'll be explaining all the complicated technical stuff is Andy Weiner, internet consultant and pundit, and fashion victim. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Dave. Or AGDT, as we modem pals like to say.
Sure you do. Listen, Andy, if I asked you to give me an overly simplistic, perhaps offensively patronising way of explaining the Internet, what would you say?
Well, I would say what I always say, and that is that the Internet is a telephone system for computers.
Well, you can't get any more simplistic or patronising than that, or can you? Let's see what the Online Radio Interactive Database CD-ROM has to say about the telephone system.
The telephone was invented by the aptly named Alexander Graham Bell in 1876. Amazingly, no one ever believed that it would ever catch on, as everyone thought that the existing Morse code-based telegraph system was more than sufficient. Why bother talking to someone when you could send them a telegram?
Makes you think, eh?
Click on Alexander Graham Bell's head to learn how his invention was inspired by his deaf wife. Today's telephone system is unbelievably complex and stretches to all the corners of the globe. It's the largest machine in the world.
Right, Andy. So what you're saying is the internet isn't really that amazing. What's amazing is that we already have a huge, massively complicated international telephone network. And the internet is just a different version of that same thing, but for computers.
That's right, Dave. And both the phone system and the internet computer system are thrilling new frontiers of cyberspace, explored by dangerous young info samurai warriors like me.
Hence the leather jacket.
Well, yeah. On the internet, it's called hacking. On the phone system, it's called freaking. With a PH, as in phone.
Yeah, right. So what's it all about? Is it like lying to your parents about all the stuff that shows up on the itemised phone bill?
Yeah, but on a much bigger scale. Because the phone system is just like a big computer, if you know the special sounds that control it. You can get free calls, redirect people's numbers, whatever you like. You just need a special box to produce the right tones. This is what's called a red box. And this is a blue box. Very handy.
Right, and this is some black box. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I mean, isn't this all happening in the States? Is there any use over here?
Well, yeah, because, A, the phone system's all international, and once you've dialed into the US and got your free call, there's no more to pay. And B, our phone system's all controlled by tones, too. You know when you ring up a call box and it makes that beep-boop noise?
Yeah, beep-boop, like 3am Eternal by the KLF.
Yeah, that's to stop you from reversing the charges. The operator knows what a payphone sounds like, see? Otherwise, you could just ring up your friend in a payphone, reverse the charges, and get the call for nothing.
KLF is going to rock you.
Yeah, but I mean, surely all this sort of phone freaking stuff's illegal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but you know, it's part of the hacking ethic. Information wants to be free and all that.
Right, so that means you won't be wanting any money for this consultancy appearance then, will you?
I didn't say that.
Well, I mean, you know, you've given me some information and it wants
it?
to be free. Oh, no, I don't know. Yeah. Well, that just about wraps up where the internet came from. Next time, I'll be delving into the evolution of the net, from the small-scale, hard-to-use elitist system of the 1960s and 1970s to the large-scale, hard-to-use elitist system that we see today. See you then.
Well, it's about 1849 in our futuristic time-based chronology. This is online radio, and if you'd like to phone us, we're on 0171 224 2000. Ask us all kinds of science fiction and dumb technical queries you like, and we're also on quadrangle@solo.pipex.com. Call us anytime.
And if you prefer the facts, and, you know, I do, try 0171 487 2908. I look forward to it.
Here's Blondie with Rapture. Well, it's a very exciting moment now on OLR, because for the first time on real proper radio, we are playing host to a virtual band.
They're collectively known as The Pod. They are known to each other as Spicy D, hello, and the Coroner. Spicy D, Coroner, The Pod, welcome to OLR.
It's happening online now, online.
Yeah, hi guys. Did I get your names the right way round?
Yeah, although I've actually changed my name. Yeah, I'm now Johnny Morocco.
Yeah, we're trying to get away from all that kind of idol worship which is going on.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Obviously, yeah. And people, Spicy, you are?
I'm now the king.
Yeah,
the king. Right. So,
you were the coroner, and he was Spicy.
Well, we just want to say,
but we might change later on because of that. We want to, we don't want to be hero worship.
Well, we don't we all?
So listen, girls, we don't want your knickers. We just want your
Respect.
ideas.
Right.
Yeah, we want your ideas to show.
I know. I think we're better than to get that respect than by playing some of the pod now on OLR. I think we've got the internationally available track, Podus Sanctus, and this is it coming up.
Brilliant song.
Yeah. And a horse shall emerge from a pod and scale a mighty tree, then leap to the earth, sacrificing all for humanity. And the blood of the horse shall make the ground fertile, and from the ground shall sprout many...
Well, that's quite stunning.
Right, well, what are you trying to say with this particular track here, the Podus Sanctus?
Well, we met these cyber monks.
We're on the net surfing, cruising.
These techno monks out in some kind of ambient monastery on the net. They were incredible people. They've got totally different values.
Different way of life, different, and very cheap.
Very cheap,
yeah.
Very good. All they want is some Levi 501s and some 20
We're just trying to break down cultural barriers.
You just take that, and that's what we've got here. That's fantastic.
Right, I believe that now we're going to do something rather special now, as all net programs usually do on real-time radio. What we're going to do is download that last track, Podus Sanctus. What would allow people...
put it straight back to them.
We're going to put them back where they want to hear them.
Empower them so they can choose it and mix it the way they want to hear it.
Exactly, and if you get the leads that were on...
radio.
If you get the leads that were available with the Radio Times a couple of weeks ago and plug your computer directly into the radio...
Just put the radio near the computer.
Or something like that. Then we'll play all the samples from that now, and you'll be able to remix it live, and we'll try and get some of that back in via the net.
And a horse.
Going on forever.
Well, kids, get ready. Fantastic. So tell us a bit more about the whole pod thing. How amorphous is your collective?
It's amorphous. It's a big... it's really
how big is an idea? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Massive.
Yeah.
Two of us, really.
And these slogans, open your eyes.
Open your eyes, widen your head.
Dream with your mind.
Drink with your feet. Anything, really. Every type of
fly with your
organ,
arms.
just re-transfuse each other.
Hang on, I think we've got something. Somebody's actually emailed in a remix of that.
I can't believe this is...
No, it's true. It's all happening. This one's just come in from some people in Belgium, remixing As It Happens, Remarkable. Let's hear it. Yeah, let's put it on.
The pod. The pod.
Oh, that's a awesome sound there. Yeah. That's a fantastic beat. It's beautiful. There's a beautiful space to a lot of the Belgium house at the moment, do you know what I mean? And I think it's really getting... Oh, right. Brilliant.
Well, quite short, but they're probably running out of memory or something like that.
Space, isn't it?
Okay.
It happened, though.
It's a small country.
It's incredible.
Great. Well, marvellous. Well, thanks very much, the pod, for coming in. I hope we hear more from
Johnny
you.
Spicer, or whatever your name was.
And
the other guy.
The shorter guy. Okay, we'll now be listening to, I believe, Buddy Holly?
Hi, it's coming up to 7:05. This is online radio, Britain's most interactive thing, and you've been burdening us with your questions.
And you'd also have us tell no lies.
You're always asking what it's all about.
And you never listen to our replies.
These things, Dan.
You say.
Well, what?
They're unbelievable.
If your gigs aren't biting and your IRQ's arguing with your DMA, stay tuned to online radio and get really confused.
What does cyberspace mean to you?
Doesn't mean anything.
Okay, do you know what spamming is?
No, I don't.
Flaming?
No.
A newbie?
No, I haven't got a clue, sorry.
Spamming.
Something to do with sandwiches?
Flaming is something which is ignited and takes fire.
Cyber is full of twisted trekkies who've got nothing better to do.
So you know what flaming is then?
No.
Spamming?
No.
A newbie?
It's all the same as when skateboards came out and they had the same sort of words, and then they all grow up and it all dies away.
Comparing a vast network of computers to a board with wheels isn't all that unusual. After all, what are computers but hardware and circuit boards? And what is the internet if it isn't the wheels upon which technology and people can move freely across the world? Yes, you can sense already that I'm in difficulty, plying you with words in a vain attempt to cover up the fact that I don't really know what I'm talking about. I want to explain where internet jargon came from, but something is in my way. Perhaps if I consulted the Rupert Murdoch Professor of Language and Communication at Oxford University, everything will become clear. And that, as Edward the Confessor once said, is exactly what I did. When I found Jean Aitchison in her living room, I had to get her to talk to me. It wasn't easy. According to an Oxford University statute laid down in 1707, I could only ask her questions designed to make me appear more clever than I actually am. 4 hours and several cups of tea later, I came up with this.
Do you think that the techies, the people who are at the forefront of new technology today, are the kind of Samuel Johnsons and the Alexander Popes of today, creating a new language or standardizing language to communicate with?
Well, everybody has their own private language. I mean, whether you're talking about families or whether you're talking about computer buffs. And sure, I mean, the computer buffs are going to have their own private language in the same way as all the rest of us do. But most of it's going to fall by the wayside. Now, I use computers all the time. I have friends who are computer buffs. And yet, looking through the Hacker's Dictionary, I shouldn't think I knew more than 1/50th of the words in it. So these are just words that people have made up that fall by the wayside, as happens all the time, whether we're dealing with drinks or food or whatever. And a few of them are going to stay, and a few of them are going to stay in their private use. Another one I liked was to geek out, which is to talk technical. Do you mind if I geek out a moment?
Well, that's fine, but all Jean's told me so far is that language is only as good as the people who use it. So in the case of the internet, language is locked up in a dark room with a can of fizzy Ribena, waiting for someone to call.
I think it frightens a number of people. In fact, I was trying to work out what on earth cyberspace was. I'm sure I hear it and maybe even use it all the time, but I couldn't think of a good definition of cyberspace. Perhaps a lexicographer could help.
Luckily for me, there was a lexicographer called John Ayto sitting opposite us in the living room. Before he could make a run for it, I wrestled him to the carpet and accused him of creating words that no one understood. Picking himself up, he addressed me as I lay sobbing at his feet.
You know where to look, and so you have a program of searching out, of building up what's called a corpus, and you look at, well, if you're specialising in cyberspace type words, you would look in all the latest journals and magazines and books that are produced in that area. You follow radio and TV programs about it, and of course you plug yourself into the internet too and see what the actual users were using in their texts, and you pick up the slang, the current internet slang in that way.
So there you have it, from the man who decides what words do and don't exist. Cybermedia begets cyber jargon, which in turn begets more cybermedia, and so on and so forth. A bit like skateboarding, really, but not much.
I love the music they had in the back of that, sort of like a BBC Two RE.
That's great. I nearly fell asleep.
Well, if you'd like to email us to perhaps select tracks that we could run underneath our documentaries, the email address is quadrangle@solo.pipex.com.
If you prefer the telephone, there's 0171224 2000 and some digits we set aside for that.
And also, if you'd like to use just a machine that prints out stuff in little dotty form, that's a fax, a.k.a. It's 01714872908.
We've already had quite a lot of votes in about the whole Mac
PC thing, which is quite nice.
Debate, and it's been going really well. Unfortunately, it's pretty much neck and neck.
It's almost exactly equal as we speak, which doesn't add to the tension of it. But what I have noticed is that the PC ones are actually more grammatically correct.
Yeah, but the Mac ones are more artistic. They've got little pictures in them.
Yeah, smileys, overly emotional people. Anyway,
I'm sure the other person who'd agree with this on the whole Mac using thing is Aretha Franklin, who's coming up soon talking about her own version of the information superhighway, the Freeway of Love. Well, thanks for that, Aretha. I think we've all got the point there. Anyway, it's just coming up to 7:17 on online radio on GLR. And it's time, once again, to discuss a very, very serious issue, isn't it, Dan?
Indeed. Many people are worried about the transmission of pornography, I can't be bothered to do this again. All right.
Well, the thing was, right, we rang up 3 different people. They're all journalists, sort of important people, and asked them about pornography on the internet, and they all said exactly the same thing.
Which apparently the internet is this vast anarchistic system that cannot be censored.
Listen out for that one. They start off with that, and then we ask them, well, where'd you get it from? Where'd you get all these pictures?
And these people are supposed to be journalists, supposed to tell us what we need to know, and they suddenly clam out.
It's suddenly no more Mr. Nice Guy. It's all shifty looks and sort of nudges.
My name is John Kennedy. I'm consultant editor of Internet and Comms Today magazine.
With freedom to communicate, there comes a price tag, and that price tag in terms of the internet is pornography. How much does porn actually cost on the internet?
Pornography photography, well, it does only make up a tiny percentage. The cost in actually how much would it cost for someone to download a picture and look at it would depend on the quality they wanted. At the moment, the quality of pictures are laughable. They're not particularly good, even those...
This is the quality of the reproduction or the quality of the subject matter?
The actual graininess of the photograph, if you like, never mind what the photograph is of. To actually get to these pictures, you need to have a reasonably fast modem, a computer, a dial-up account. It's going to
you got one of those?
Hey! Well, I require one for my work. Whether or not I use it for pornography is not something I'd like to discuss, if that's all right.
What exactly do they look like?
I've been informed that the pictures I've the pictures I've seen are of full frontal naked women with their legs together. I've yet to be shocked, and after about 15 minutes of looking at these over my entire internet career, I've decided that, to be quite frank, they're a waste of internet resources, and I'd rather get on with doing something more useful. I mean, the ultimate thing is to go and get a girlfriend.
Get a girlfriend? We'll try. Look, we've had a few calls in about this, saying that we're actually drawing attention to the fact that there is this kind of thing available on the internet. We should point out that it's very, very hard to get, and no one should ever do it. And I think that's probably clear.
And you wouldn't find it anywhere else. That's the thing. Pornography is almost exclusive to the internet.
It is.
The very name comes from is a name made up by internet people.
By hackers in one of those books.
Not the Greeks or something like that. Anyway, well, I'm glad this is all going so well. Seriously, if you are having problems getting a girlfriend or getting a life or whatever, you'll probably have noticed that the world has these masters of things who help you out. Like, if you're having problems with games, you talk to the games master, don't you, Dan? Yeah. And, like, if you watch Star Wars, Luke Skywalker is having problems with his Jedi stuff.
So he'll go to the
Jedi master.
And if I'm having a problem with food, right, I should turn to what?
The menu master,
of course,
from Birdseye. Will help you do your day. So, anyway, along those lines, we were thinking, what if you're having problems with reality? Perhaps you should turn to the reality master.
Hello, Dominic Double Entendre here with my friend the Reality Master. I bet you can't wait to get your hands on his tips. Oh, sorry, I meant advice. He's on this screen ready to answer your queries. Oh, I didn't mean to say that now, did I? So go ahead, small kid who I don't really give a fig. Sorry, toss. Oh, sorry, damn. Oh, sorry, pancake about. Make the Reality Master think hard. Oh, there I go again.
Mighty Reality Master. I'm finding it impossible to win a match in FA Football League Manager. Have you any suggestions?
Well, as with most games of this kind, there is a cheat mode, selected in this case by inviting key players from the other team to a secret location and offering them large cash bribes to throw the match. Oh, and while you're doing this, make sure that the full motion video option is switched off. Otherwise, the other managers may discover your special technique.
Oh, thank you very much, Reality Master.
On the CD version of Born to Run, how do I get away from the boss at the end of the first day?
Oh, well, by the boss, I assume you mean Bruce the Boss Springsteen, who by the time Born to Run was released was showing signs of fatigue brought on by constant touring with his E Street band. To get away, simply ignore him, and he will disappear from public view and merely produce a couple of critically acclaimed but commercially unsuccessful albums. But be careful. This boss is a persistent enemy, and he may return to life using the theme song from a big Hollywood movie, then unleash a barrage of some of his most powerful hits to date.
Thank you, Mighty Reality Master.
2 more problems, 2 more terrific solutions from the Reality Master. And lo, as if by magic, my obsession with Joe Demo is cured.
Watch your cock.
Cock? Oh no, I can't hold it. Oh, sorry. Stop it coming. Oh, sorry.
Dexter Geezer here. Cheery, cockney fellow what used to be on this programme. Oh, say no more. Apples and pears, knees up. Yeah, and this is my new mate, Jules, the Squarebird, what did the games reviews on that popular BBC Two programme, The Net. We thought you might give us a go at presenting your show, what you do, now that me and Jules ain't got nowhere to go. What do you say then, you old teapot? we have a go on your programme? Come, we have a go then, can we, eh? Come on.
No way, Fletcher. You may have a natural rapport with enthusiastic teenagers and a face like an inside-out rugby ball, but this is my show. Get out.
No, we've been done up like a keeper.
Get out of here right now.
Come here.
Get out before I call my mates in my football team.
Sinister message there from the people at the Reality Master. Hi. Well, we're speaking now to Jeff Noon, who's just popped into our little office here at GLR, to speak about his new book, all the way from Manchester. Hello, Jeff.
Hiya.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi. Now, I've read your first book, and this is a sequel to it. The first book was Vurt, which was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. And this is the sequel.
It's a kind of, yeah. It hasn't got any of the same characters in.
Well, this is what I was going to...
Great sequel. Well, it's the second book that he's written.
Well, it carries on the ideas of the first one. It's set about 12 years after it, but I'm not interested in carrying on.
Well, I was going to say, because one of the problems is, I don't want to give away the ending of it or anything like that, but it did seem a bit hard to go on from that, because it's so sort of wrapped up, Vurt, in this great fantasy world that you've created, based around, ironically enough, Manchester.
It is.
Well, that's the thing, because the other thing we were thinking was like, do you see this as part of a new tradition of, like, British towns in science fiction? And we're trying to think of other ones. And there's the Midwich Cuckoos,
obviously,
which is a village called Midwich. And then there's a lot of London in Mona Lisa Overdrive by William Gibson.
And then there's
Clockwork Orange, we think.
That was filmed in Swindon, wasn't it?
Aylesbury.
And then there's Isaac Asimov's sort of Foundation in Ipswich, which is
never very popular.
No.
I mean, so you're from Manchester yourself, so you're thinking about places that you know, but putting them in a sort of science fiction way.
Yeah, I just wanted to, get rid of the old image of Manchester as grim up north and all that. I thought I'm going to make it to a really colourful place, exciting, dangerous.
You put it into a sort of nihilistic nightmare vision of the
didn't.
But the feathers are really brightly coloured. That's the whole point about the feathers.
That's it.
So Vurt is all about the feathers. And what do the feathers do?
Well, you put them in your mouth and tickle the back of your throat with them, and they transport you to strange realms.
And
one of them's got a menu system attached with it.
Which was great. We like
your
that.
favourite bit.
I put that in for people that might have trouble keeping up with it.
Yeah,
Mac users. No, I mean PC.
Voiced by your own petard once again. Yeah, but so in the first one it was feathers. In the next one, pollen.
It's flowers.
It's flowers.
It is.
We were thinking, what about other things that people are allergic to, like dandruff?
Or cats. Could be cats.
Or this peanut thing, where people eat peanuts. You know about that? And
I think that might be the third one, the third book actually.
That's
the
terrifying.
peanut.
It's like the hot zone virus.
Look, trying to draw this away from your slightly less serious, but do you see there being a sort of movement in Britain? Because I think one of the things we were talking about before was the fact that you went over to America and plaudits fell your way, didn't they?
They did. They love it over there. Yeah. I mean, they don't get any of the in-jokes, any of the cultural references. They don't know what a crusty is.
Ha 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 ha. We laugh.
They thought I made the word crusty up.
What, so you're taking responsibility for inventing the whole of British culture?
Well, I've now actually patented the word in America.
But that's the thing. That's the appeal of reading stuff. Like, you read stuff we read stuff from the US. Don't understand a word of it.
But it sounds great. Yeah.
It's got a kind of romanticism. When I was over there for 3 weeks, I was actually exotic for 3 weeks, which is hard to believe, but I was.
Well, you're quite exotic down here.
I mean, Americans think EastEnders are exotic, so Manchester has come as very exciting. Yeah.
Do you see other writers in the same sort of sphere as you? Do you think there is a sort of group of people moving up?
In Britain, no, I think I'm totally alone.
Well, I was thinking you're a bit like Martin Miller. Have you read any of his books?
Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, I don't want to, suggest you're ripping off people or anything like that.
No,
but I don't know. People always try and make people into
What's Martin Miller written?
Martin Miller wrote Milk, Sulphate and Albi Starvation, which was set in Brixton and had very much the same sort of feel to it.
Not on allergy. Is it?
Well, yeah, it was. Ironically enough, it was about milk allergies, you see. And I think there's a parallel there.
Yeah, I begin to see the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, what are you planning to do next?
Next, I'm writing the third Alice book. I'm going to follow up Lewis Carroll. I'm going to transport Alice through time so that she lands in Manchester in 1998.
That's excellent. That's so good. Did you read the Alan Moore comic where Alice met up with? I'm wandering into really.
What's it called?
I can't remember what it's called, but it is very
Jack
good.
the Ripper.
It's not V for Vendetta.
No, that is good as well.
It is great.
Okay, well we'll have to move on to our next song now, rather sadly. But never mind.
Once again, this is the brilliant thing. It's yet another thing that's named itself after a British town somewhere, and it's of course Terence Trent D'Arby. Take it away. Hi, this is Online Radio. It's just gone 7:30, and we're talking to Jeff Noon, author of the acclaimed new novel Pollen. Available now, I understand, at $2.99. That's what he's
lying
says.
There, isn't he?
$14.99.
Well, any advance on $14.99, but it is a hardback.
Yeah, but be careful when you touch it, because you might get a rash on your hand.
It's got a 3-page sneeze in it. I'm just pointing that out. It's a
pop-up sort of thing? That's disgusting.
3 pages well spent there. Anyway, Jeff, we were talking just now in the record about your favourite science fiction TV shows, and you were giving some interesting hints about what's your favourite show?
X-Files.
And what's the gossip on the X-Files
when
from
I was
America?
In the States, I've learned that William Gibson's writing a script for the next series.
Well, just like he was writing one for Alien 3.
Yeah, that never happened.
I've read that.
What, the script?
Yeah.
Did you get it off the internet because they printed it?
No,
they
got it
Some people still buy things in shops.
Oh, do they? Oh, probably.
Anyway, and talking of television programmes, Dan.
Smoothly put. We have in our office here at OLR on GLR, we have our special mystery guest who is Jan Chappell, better known off-screen as Callie. For Blake 7.
Hello, Callie.
Hello.
Hiya.
Although, of course, Callie was a telepath. That was her special ability.
Well, then we shan't bother asking any of these questions, shall we? Look, the reason I get you in is because apart from anything else,
hang on, Dan. I've just got something. I've just got a present I'd really like to give you because I'm a fan of yours. Having seen you caught in the net, I have to say I am your fan.
I'm trying to separate all these rather sad parts of my personality to get away from one another.
I didn't know this was going to happen.
I know. Well, this is a bit like Wogan when they want to try and soften up the interview. Look, it's underneath all of this. Oh, God, what is it? It's Shakedown, Return of the Sontarans.
Oh, fantastic, because I understand this is your new project.
Yes, we did. We made this last year on the HMS Belfast. Kevin Davis, who was the chief animator on Roger Rabbit, directed it, and it's available through Dreamwatch magazine, which comes into the stores next month. And I play Captain Lisa Duran, captain of the space cruiser.
So it's about the Sontarans. Just look glancing at the back.
Written by Terence Dix.
Previously of Doctor Who.
Yep.
Well, this is kind of a crossover for you, presumably, isn't it? Because Doctor Who, there was never a tie-in, which was a bit of a shame, I always thought.
No, but there might be now, but not with Callie, with Lisa.
Right, so this is a completely different
character. Completely different
bit
thing.
Like Tasha Yar no, I'm wandering
off. Wanted to throw you.
Yeah, and you're also doing the TV project of the original play of the legal case of the Scott inquiry.
That's correct.
When's that coming up?
Well, we've heard that it's coming out on the eve of the Scott report being published, but that date
They keep moving
moving it on and on,
It's a bit like Doctor Who in that, sometimes they always say they're going to put it on and then they
enough serious stuff. Jan, if you don't mind me asking, what's it like acting with all these aliens and, robots and computers and stuff?
Cool question, Dave.
Well, it can be confusing because you talk to an actor in the, before you go on, and then he dresses up and you don't know, who you're talking to anymore because you don't recognise them.
Yeah.
It gets confusing. You get asked out by one and, you don't know where you are.
Well, that's fantastic. The computers, are they real computers? That's what I've always wondered. Like, Aurak was always my favourite from Blake 7, which just seemed to be a Perspex box with a voice coming out of it.
Well, I have to say my introduction to the new technology is through Blake 7. As far as I'm concerned...
Well, not ours too.
Well, the new technology now, I had my first interaction with a fax machine last week, and I was absolutely thrilled. And, this whole radio live thing is a new experience to me.
It's clearly a step in the right... It's like when we'd open hailing frequencies, I imagine, with those Federation ships.
That's very like using a fax. Is that what you're trying to imply?
That's how it is for me,
Well, oddly, I see Aurak as being a kind of PC of the Blake 7 world, and Zen's as the Max, because Zen was very easy to use. Aurak looked like it was made by someone in a shed somewhere.
And it never worked. It was always breaking down.
It was mostly Pritt stick, actually.
Zen
you had to be
great.
very careful how you push the buttons.
Zen was that huge round thing they had at the front of the spaceship. It always seemed to know what was going on.
The other thing I wanted you to ask is, Callie, Callie, what was your surname in the series? What was Callie's surname? Because like Blake.
We found out Blake's first name.
Right, because Blake is just a surname, and
all the boys were known by their surnames.
No, but Callie as an alien, I mean, she didn't have surnames. She didn't have a surname. She probably had a number.
Because Blake was called Rog.
That's why he called himself Blake.
Rather than, Rogers 7.
Anyway, we were stuck on Avon as well. We thought like Stratford-upon-Avon.
Or something like that.
Or like River Phoenix, River Avon.
Yeah.
But then we found out it was Kerr.
All right, good. Well, we've got to move on now, unfortunately, so let's go on to our next disc, which is the beautiful and marvellous Beautiful Girl by Inx's, better known in their world as In Excess.
Stay with me. Hi, you're still listening to online radio, and why shouldn't you be? Here and with us in the studio, we've got Jan Chappell, who played Callie in Blake 7.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff.
Yeah.
And we've got Jeff Noon, author of Pollen and Vurt. Hi, Jeff. Stay with us, because as a sort of climax to the show, we'll be reenacting a scene from Blake 7, so that'll be fantastic. And if you've got any questions, just call in or fax us or email us at quadrangle@solo.pipex.com. Cheers.
Or 0171224 2000 if you want to use the proper voice communication system that we were all born to use. Well, there's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, about pornography or dirty...
Yeah, there has. Okay. It's all been our talk.
Yeah.
Should we just...
We've blown this out of all of proportion.
We know what this is. We know what this is about. This one's a really good one, actually.
Yeah,
what happens,
the deal is
he's really into it. Everyone else has sort of said, it's not a big thing, and then he's really into it.
Which is nice, until we start asking whether he does it.
My name's Keith Teare, and I'm a director of Siberia, the Cyber Cafe, and EasyNet, the internet provider.
Now, there's been a lot of talk, some might say too much talk, about pornography, call it what you will, on the internet. Do you think it's a good thing, porn being available on the internet?
Well, let's put it this way, I don't think it's a bad thing. When I was 14, I was fascinated by the availability of pictures of the naked female form, and I would do anything to get my hands on those magazines and have a look at them. And I don't think it's turned me into some kind of deformed creature. I certainly don't get the same fascination now that I'm 40.
So you're not some kind of Brundle Keith now?
That's right.
How would you do it?
You'd just go to the news groups that contain these things and you'd download pictures. It's relatively straightforward.
Do you have any favourites?
Well, hey! Personally, they change every day, actually. There's no favourites that I have. They're different day on, day out, and I look at them about once every month just to see what the current level of the stuff is, and that's about it.
So it's a scientific interest that you have?
Yeah, that's right. To be quite frank, I personally think it's a little bit sad that people need to look at pornography. It's a reflection of their isolation from society and their insecurity with themselves. And I personally wouldn't find a great deal of interest in doing it.
Well, I don't know about you, Dan, but I'm certainly convinced.
Well, it's interesting, very pro to begin with, then says that they're changing every day, then claims that he's only looking at them monthly, and then says they're absolutely disgusting, and no one should go ahead and do anything.
Everyone has a different thing to say.
That's certainly right. Well, good. Okay, we'll have our next disc now, which is the rather marvellous Another Simple Date with the Little Act. Right, you're listening to OLR, and it's round about 8 o'clock in the evening.
And as promised, as a sort of climax to the whole evening's entertainment, we're now going to be reenacting scenes from Blake 7 with our assembled cast.
We've picked a particularly good one, which appears to summarise exactly what's happened in the previous 40 minutes in about 2 minutes right at the end, just in case anyone gets too confused.
I'm just going to proceed it now. Imagine that some sort of like telepathic little discs that lived on a planet, and Aurak nearly got taken over by some sort of alien thing, and Callie helped him out in the end. And then some of the weird stuff about planets and stuff blowing up. I never
the usual stuff. Okay, so how are we going to allocate these?
Okay, well I thought we'd give the first choice to our guests. So Jan, would you mind being Callie?
Is that all right? Can you do that?
Okay.
That would be all right.
Okay.
As long as it's not opening up old wounds, as it were.
No,
Jeff,
Avon.
Fine.
Can you handle that?
I
'Cause
think
quite,
so.
quite a smooth geezer.
Quite well drawn, I thought.
The sort of milk tray man of Blake 7, I always thought. And we're pleased to welcome back Janus 15, as he's now known.
It's happening.
From the pod.
This is brilliant, yeah.
Janus, it's interactive, it's happening, can you do it?
Can I do Blake now, live?
Yeah. All right, you can be Blake.
Everyone wants to be. And that leaves me with Villa, who's the funny one, a really witty little chirpy fellow.
Yeah, well, what about me?
And you're Aurak, then. Little robot thing, little squeaky voice. Do the voice, go on.
It's a bit like K9, isn't
it? You don't know this, but Danny was famous in his sixth form for doing a startling impersonation of Aurak.
I can only do the...
Well, do that, and then just hold...
All right, well, let's go.
But picture the scene, everyone's on the bridge of the Enterprise, or whatever it's called.
Liberator,
yeah.
Or the Scorpio in the later series.
Scorpio, and it starts with Avon, who's played by Jeff Noon. Okay.
So, it was an alien life form that killed her then, Callie?
Yes. It was trying to use Aurak as a bridge to cross from its own universe into ours.
That's why it needed so much power.
But a quantum jump would need much more energy development than the Liberator could develop.
The explosion in the planet's atmosphere would have provided the rest.
Yes, I hadn't thought of that.
So you see, Beck's this guy who's with him on this thing tapped into Aurak's channels and sucked up all his energy so it could come squirting out and swallow us. But where did Callie fit in? Why did it attack you, Callie?
I was a threat to it. I knew it was there because of my telepathy. Aurak uses special communication waves which pass through another dimension, and it is the same dimension that allows thought transference.
Aurak's telepathic?
No. Telepathy is conscious. Aurak has no consciousness in that dimension. He merely drives a beam through it, which is why he could be controlled by this force.
And why you couldn't? You thought it telepathically?
Yes. Once the moon disk has broken through the isolation... Once the moon disk has broken through the isolation, as soon as I was no longer all alone, I could fight it.
And it looks like you're still fighting it now, Callie. But what about the key? How did you get Aurak's key while he was up here and you were down there? Do you have long arms?
Telekinesis.
Who? What?
The power to move objects by thought alone. That seems unlikely.
Yes, it does. Even among my people, such power is rare. Maybe the moon disk.
Yeah. Sorry.
Their telepathy gave me courage because it gave me strength too.
Whose is this? Pointing to discs.
Mine.
Is it alive?
Yes.
I thought they died if they left the planet.
No. You have to talk to them.
That's like talking to Villa. A complete waste of time.
Information. Detectives report 7 Federation pursuit ships approaching in a jack formation. Arrow!
7? Thanks, Aurak. 1 for each of us. How very generous of the President.
Blasters are cleared for firing. Sensors are functioning. Planetary targets are identified and ranged.
Wait a minute, Avon. Beck, that button burns the President's garden. It won't hurt him much, but it will sting a bit. Stand by to take us out, Jenna, when it's done.
That was brilliant.
Right. Well done, everyone.
Thanks ever so much.
No, I have to say, I think there would have been total recasting if David Maloney, producer, had heard you. I mean, I think there would have,
we could have done it. Why not?
I could do Zen as well.
We could make our own Blake 7. Not call it Blake 7.
Then we call it Blake or something like that. Oh, Ian McDonald has written in to know, wants to know if the Jan video can be won in a competition. Right, everybody now has about 10 minutes to email in asking for the video, and we'll give it away to the 7th person to make it more accurate.
Give the name of who was Callie's clone sister. What was her name?
Brilliant. This is just like Saturday Superstore, isn't it? You can phone in as well on 0171 224 2000.
No one's phoned in yet. Everyone likes email.
What is it with these weirdos? All right, we're going to go into the next track now, which is Papa Wemba.
Hi, it's online radio, and you've been listening to me and Dan O'Brien.
Speaking with our voices.
And of course our guests, Jeff Noon, the pod. Where have those guys got to?
I don't know. I think they formed a little tent or something. They're camping out.
They were great. That Belgian thing was my favourite bit.
Yeah.
And of course Jan Chappell, who played Callie in Blake 7. Well, I mean, have you all enjoyed being on the programme?
Yes, very much.
Immensely.
Very much indeed. And I just want to take advantage of this and say Happy Easter to Lynn Walters, Bev Murray in Northwest 6, Sam, Damien, Charlotte, Emily and Damien, all the crew in Northwest 6, Richard, Sunny, Amber, Tim, Amanda, Tricycle Theatre, all the old girls in my class at St Martin's in the Fields, and all my ex-lovers, Tim, Stephen, Bernie.
Well, no, not all
John,
the ex-lovers, surely, Chair.
Yeah, all right. That's it. I've done it now.
So some people react badly to losing the gift of telepathy, don't they?
Yeah, it used to be a time where you could just broadcast this kind of thing out, isn't it?
Could we do a little experiment to try that now?
Yeah, do you want to? Okay. Think of an object, Dave.
I'm thinking of an object, yeah.
And Jan, what is it?
I don't like to say it.
That's fair enough. Okay, it's maybe too many pornography inserts in the entire show.
Anyway, and what we're going to say, we're not the only people loose on GLR this weekend.
No, apparently
I think we've got a little factoid information coming up right here.
Big respect to all Massive and crew. This is me, Apache Indian. Make sure you join me this Sunday evening for a very, very special Asian London, where I'll be playing some of my best and favourite tracks, banger-wise, reggae-wise, jungle-wise, right here on GLR. So make sure wherever you be and wherever you are, 94.9 FM, Sunday 9 till 10.
94.9 GLR.
Right, and we're just kind of wrapping up the whole online radio programme now. And it's been brilliant, hasn't it? It's been so interactive.
It's been marvellous. And everybody who's emailed, thanks to all of those, and also to our guests and everybody else who knows us.
Question.
Oh, right. Well, you can give it away if you want. But
has anyone got the answer to the question I asked?
Should we give them the tape? Kevin?
It's coming out now. Kevin has this is an
interaction.
Typing
at its best.
Yep.
It's coming through very slowly.
What?
Kevin has the answer.
Right, Kevin has the answer. It's coming up on the screen now. But he is selling the video.
He's selling the video.
He's selling the video?
P.O. Box.
Oh, he's got all the details coming in.
1015.
Brighton. So the only person to email with the correct answer is actually someone who's selling the video.
That's not. But I think we should give it to Ian McDonald. I think we should. Ian, you win the prize. Well done, Ian.
Yeah.
You were great, and everyone else who emailed us as well. Online radio is going offline now, but before we disappear down our own personal fibre optic tubes, we should say thank
you to the people who made sure online didn't come up halfway and then failed to respond. Apart from Dave Green and Dan O'Brien, which is us.
Yeah.
The numerous guests who were all very good.
The uncredited voices on the show have been Ed Smith, Tim Hope, Julian Barrett, Kevin Cecil, Andy Riley, Andy Bodle, Moira Govan, Verity McIlveen and Fiona Glover, who works here every day apparently.
Online radio was produced by Richard Kilgarriff for Quadrangle Productions. Goodbye.